Hello there, welcome back to my channel. As I'm sure most of you are aware by now, Sephora is having their Spring's Savings Event right now. And depending on your tier, depends on how much you can save, and also depends on the dates that you can shop. Now, normally I do one of these videos right before the sale starts so you can get your shopping cart ready, but I started just seeing a ton of videos flood my feed of subscription with everybody giving recommendations. And I thought, really, what could I add to that recommendations list that you haven't already heard, I'm sure, many times over? And then several events just have been going on in my life that have kept me so busy. I'll fill you in soon in an upcoming uncut video. So I almost didn't film this video, but then I thought what would be helpful is to maybe talk about what I consider 10 of the hot new products that are out right now and share with you my personal opinion of whether you should run to Sephora before the sale is over and pick these up, or whether you can sit back and relax and not feel like you missed out. Now, as always, I will list those items in the description box down below, along with everything that I have on my face today, because I pulled out some of my absolute top favorites that are on sale at Sephora right now to pull this makeup look together. So if you're interested in anything you see on my face, check the description box down below for links to those products as well. All right, without further ado, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and let's get started. Now, as we jump into it, again, I've pulled out 10 products that are pretty hot right now. A lot of people are talking about them, and I'm going to share with you my personal experience and my opinion on these products. Of course, you can differ. If your opinion differs, that's fine, but I want to share with you my experience. And when I test out products, I don't just put it on once on my face or eyes or lips or whatever and make a decision based on that. I do test them multiple days, different techniques. And so I feel like my opinion has some backing, has some testing behind it. So as we jump in, the first product is this Cere. This is the Hideaway Brightening Under Eye Color Corrector. Now, this is meant, not only does it provide hydration to the under eye, but it is meant to be almost like a one and done. It has color correcting properties and concealer, so you're supposed to be able to use maybe just this under the eye rather than having to do color corrector concealer. And it is hydrating, and I did show this in a video, I don't know, get ready with me video or an uncut video. And it does go on initially, the first time I used it, and every time I've used it since, when I first put it on, I am blown away. I look and I see that it has canceled the darkness. I feel like it's gonna conceal, that I don't need to use concealer. But what has happened over time is that within a very short amount of time, within maybe about 2 hours, I feel like the coverage is gone. So I have tested this alone. I've tested this under various concealers. I've tested it with various concealers and setting powders, and I cannot get the concealing power of this to continue to last. I also don't feel like the hydration lasts all day. So I still get creasing even when I wear it just by itself. So for that reason, I've saved the box, and this is going back. And it is, in my opinion, not something you're missing out on. Now, as we go throughout this video, I'm gonna mix things up between the things I love, the things I don't love so much. So it keeps you guessing. It's also gonna be jumping around different areas of the face as well. So this next product from Patrick Ta, he came out with 3 new shades in his Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duos. And this particular shade, Not Too Much, when I first saw it, I have to tell you, I thought, oh, that's probably just like or similar enough to the other 5 shades I already own from him. I do love this combination. I love the formula. So at first I passed on this, and then I saw somebody's video on it and I thought, well, maybe I'm missing out. And I purchased it. And I have to say, I absolutely love this shade. There is something in particular about this combination. It's the perfect balance between neutral, pink, but the pink is not too cool, it's not too warm. So I think this is such a versatile color. If blush scares you, this is definitely for you. Or if you're somebody like me who loves to play around with lots of different looks and colors on the eyes, this is also another great neutral. I think it's gonna look beautiful spring, summer. And if you're not familiar at all, this has a clear cover over the cream portion so it keeps it nice and clean and fresh. This powder is a beautiful soft powder that has just a little bit of a pearl finish, no shimmer, no glitter. You can wear these individually, you can wear them layered. I usually like to layer them one on top of each other. I'll show you the two colors here swatched on my hand. The cream is just slightly deeper. Here is the powder. And then you can take the powder, let me get a little more of the powder, and put that on top of the cream, and you can just see it deepens that color even more. It will also extend the wear time, although I have not had any issues with this fading at all throughout the day. So this is definitely a product and a color that I think you should run out and go get during the sale. This is a product that I think has great value because you are getting two separate formulations that you can mix and match. And I feel like this is definitely something you should run out to Sephora and get before the sale ends. Let's stay on the topic of blush while we're there. And I am sure you have been hearing and seeing a lot of people rave and talk about these Haus Lab blushes. And specifically, these are called Color Fused blushes. Now, I have the old packaging, the old version that I purchased last year. And I purchased two shades. This is Dragon Fruit Days, which is the color I have on my cheeks right now. And then I also have Pomelo Peach. And I talked about these last year, how much I love this formula. It has arnica root, it has hydroberry, and it has squalane. So it has actually really good skin loving ingredients in them. It's clean formula. But the formula, there is something really special about this formulation. Again, it has that smooth feel, just like the Patrick Ta powder portion does. And it has a very similar finish. It's almost, I think it's called a natural finish. So it's not technically matte, but it's also not shimmery. It does not emphasize texture or pores. It's lovely and it blends out like a dream. Now, last year, I was wondering what was going on with these blushes because they went out of stock, they weren't restocked, and there were no new colors introduced. And I thought, what is going on? Well, she repackaged them and then came out with a few new colors. So I have actually purchased a couple of the new shades in the new packaging. The new packaging now has the color of the blush on the top of it, which I think is genius. The only downside to the new ones is there is actually half the amount of blush in those blushes. But as I was thinking through it, really, when was the last time that you fully used up a blush, especially one that has good pigmentation that you really only need a small amount? So I still recommend those new shades because of the formulation, because of the colors, just how easy they are to work with. But just keep in mind, they are smaller than these, but I'm okay with that. Now, speaking of high cost value for your money, let's move on to Westman Atelier Contour. Now, this is just the mini, and this came in a set I purchased at Christmas time. So I have heard so many people rave and rave about this contour stick. And this shade that came in the set is Biscuit, which is one of the most popular shades. It is a nice cool tone contour shade for me, and I'll show you here. And the formula does glide on the skin nicely, and it's relatively easy to blend out. Now, I say relatively easy because this one greatly depends on what type of foundation you have on underneath, which can determine most cream products how well they blend in. If you have a super matte foundation, you might see that they're a little bit more difficult to blend in. Now, this product is not a bad product. It does work for me, but I have to say, due to the high expectations I had for this product and for the fact that the full price of this, I will put the price right up here on the screen of the full size of how much this costs. And let me tell you, it is so not worth that. I know Westman Atelier is a very high-end brand. I just don't think that this performs to the level to warrant that price tag. So I would say if you have not already bought this, you're not missing out. All right, this next cheek product, I am sure you have heard more than once talked about. They are the new LYS stick blushes. And these new stick blushes from LYS, not only is the shape the same as their contour bronzer sticks, but these have glow in them. So their previous blush formulas, cream blushes, came in this packaging, and they still have these available. And these are more of like a satin finish. They don't have any shimmer or glow to them, but this is a beautiful formula. You know I love this. If you've watched any of my videos before, great value for your money. So I was really excited to try these because I'm not opposed to glow in my blushes if it doesn't emphasize texture and all of that. So I purchased Curvy because as I was looking at the blush shades online, I thought, you know, these seem pretty strong in color. And what color could I use more of in my collection? And so I thought, okay, this nice kind of peachy, orangey gold color could be great for summer. And again, not a bad product, and it is at a good price. But what has happened is I am not finding myself reaching for this blush because it is so pigmented that you really have to go in with a super light hand if you have fair to medium skin tone. Now, if you're medium to deep skin tone, you're gonna love all of the colors. But as I was even looking through, I thought, well, maybe I should exchange this for a different color. Even as I was going through, I'm like, they all just seem super strong to me. So these type of blushes you do need to put on the back of your hand first, then tap on your cheeks. Even when I've done that, I have still ended up with way too much color. So it's not a bad product, and the glow is beautiful, but the color is just so strong that I do find these are not as easy to work with as their previous releases. So if you're interested in a cream blush, you like the LYS products, go with these and just add maybe a little highlighter to your look. Let's go to something that's middle of the road for me. I have one product that I think, depending on what you want out of it, will depend on whether you love it or you don't. What is that? That is the Myrix Groundwork Blooming Romance palette. Now, there is a previous release of this palette that's also available, and it is all neutral colors, just browns up to black, and it has everything in between. This, I was not interested in that one because I thought, you know, I have all those colors in my collection. I don't really need that. This palette, when it came out, I was drawn immediately to the color story. So I thought, all right, if there's ever a time I want to test out this layout, the formulation, this is when I want to do that. So I've shown this in a previous tutorial, and I do love the finished looks that I get with this palette. If you're not familiar, every color here has a cream and a powder formula. This palette is marketed for a full face. You can use this on your eyes, your cheeks, your lips, brows, although unless you're a redhead, these colors aren't necessarily going to be your brow color. So on the one hand, I think that people look at this palette and think super easy. I pull out one product, add my foundation and mascara, and I'm good to go. And that is true. But I'm going to tell you, it is not, at least in my experience, a fast palette or super easy to work with. Why is that? Because if you use the creams on the eyes at all, you need a really good eyeshadow primer, and you have to set those creams in place with one of the powders. And you really have to set it. You can't just quickly brush over it because it will not last. My best friend purchased this palette and she actually returned it because she could not get the colors to stay because she didn't have a strong enough eyeshadow primer, and she just said, I just can't get the color to last throughout the day. So if you're saying, you know, I know myself, I'm not going to take that extra time to make sure everything is set in place, then I think you're not missing out by not purchasing this. However, if you say, you know what, I don't need to mess around with the creams on my eyes, but I could see using the creams on my lips, on the cheeks, and you love this concept, then this might be a really good purchase for you, especially at a discount. The other thing to keep in mind is these pans for the cream are really, really small. So your average, oh, I just gouged that one. So your average blush brush, now this is a relatively small one. This is from Rougher number 4. This brush, you can see, to keep it in the cream, you almost need to smush it like this to keep it in the cream. So you do have to use smaller brushes if you're using this on your face. And because there is no protective cover over the creams, I'm questioning how clean they're gonna stay with powders right next to them. Also, how long they're gonna stay creamy. I've only had mine for about a month, so far so good, but I do feel like they're a little dry to the touch. I do kind of have to warm them up to get in there. Now, having said that, I think this is a great palette for me because you know I love all of these shades of eyeshadow. So I find myself reaching for this palette to pull in maybe this color or this color. I pulled in a little bit of this powder through my crease today. And I do like these shades as liners, but I do set them fully with the powder. And as long as I've used a good eyeshadow primer, they do last. So middle of the road, just depends on what camp you're in, what your expectations are for this. Not a super fast, quick out the door palette, at least for me, but it is very versatile. And if you take a little bit of time, you can create some great looks. Everything is very blendable. So I'll let you decide whether this is a run out on purchase or I'm not missing out. All right, let's go to a product that I know you've seen this a lot and you've seen it even in a video of mine. This is the Fenty Beauty, and this is the, oh, I always forget the official name, and it's so tiny. What is this? The Eavesdrop foundation. So this is a foundation stick. I love the idea of a foundation stick because I just think so easy, right? You swipe it on, you blend it in and go. And I bought this on the recommendation of so many YouTubers that I watch, and I trust their reviews. And again, not a bad product. It's just not one I love at all. I still have it because I bought it using Ulta Beauty rewards points. And if you've done that, you know, it's not worth it to return. So what a lot of people love about this foundation, it's a little light for me now, but they love the sheer coverage and they love the glow and how easy it is to blend in the skin. I will agree with all of that. However, this is advertised as a blurring, skin blurring foundation and product. And it is not that for me at all. I have large pores. I do have lines on my forehead, smile lines, and this product emphasizes all of that. And part of it's the glow. But usually I can fix that with a good setting powder, and I have set this with all of my really good strong setting powders, and it just does not do the trick for me. I also find that it's just not quite enough coverage, so I got to go in with concealer, and therefore it just makes it not easy, and the finished look is just not a look that I love on my large pores, and it also doesn't last on my combination oily skin throughout the day. So this is one that I don't think you're missing out on. Let's go to a lip product. Tarte Maracuja Lip Plumpers, the shimmers. That's about all I need to say. If you've watched any of my videos over the last couple of months, you will know once these came out, the first one I got was in December in a Christmas set that they had. And it was this rosy copper shade. And this immediately sold out, went viral. And I understand why. I absolutely fell in love with the color, the shine, the shimmer. So Tarte has had this formula before, but they just came out with the shimmer formula. It is a little bit cooling on the lips. It's not painful plumping, good ingredients. And I particularly love this shade Rosy Copper. And then they came out with a whole slew of other shimmer ones. And this one in Berry is another one of my top favorites. And I think it's going to be beautiful going into the spring and summer. It is a mid-tone, more of a rose color. And the shimmer, you really don't see glitter particles on your lips, but it just adds so much shine to the lips. And I love these all on their own with a lip liner or just dabbed over the center of a lipstick that I'm wearing, especially the Rosy Copper shade. I love using that as a mixer or to tone down something bright. So if you have not yet jumped on the bandwagon, this is the time to go snatch one or two of these during the sale. All right, so we're down to the final two products, and I'm going to go back to kind of an all-over face palette. This is the Natasha Denona Hyper Natural Face Palette. I was so excited when I first saw that she was releasing a palette like this. It has bronzer, contour, has blush, and it has 5 eyeshadows in here. This size of this palette is very small, and that was hard to tell online. Her previous face palettes are a little bit bigger. There you go. You can kind of see. The previous face palettes were a little bit bigger in size, but actually they just had more space between some of the products. So the pan sizes are the same. So I'm not mad about that. So initially I was like, okay, I can deal with that. But as I was looking at this, I thought again, wow, these pan sizes for face products are really small. So let's just start there. Here's my bronzer brush. I know it's big, but I don't like to have just a dot of bronzer, you know, that I have to blend out. So a big brush is a must. So it's okay, but we've got 3 shades here that you are gonna have to flip your brush over, or you're gonna have to really just tap in. Like if you only want 1 shade, it's kind of hard to get just 1 shade on your brush. So I thought, all right, I can deal with that if I love the rest of the palette. The blushes, similar issue here. Now, you could use this brush for cream or powder. So this is about the perfect size. I thought, okay, that's good. I like the 2 blush colors in here. They are beautiful. However, this one is too light for me to wear on its own. So I would most likely be wearing this or the combination of the mixture of the 2. Again, I'm okay with that. So then we get to the eyeshadows. And it's really hard to tell online on the swatches what you're getting here exactly. But as I have been trying this out and as I read more about it, watched videos on it, these all have shimmer. So if you're not into shimmer on your eyes, this is a definitely no right away. But I love shimmer on my eyes. Now, one of the things that Natasha Denona says about this palette is it is a mistake-proof palette. So even a novice at makeup, this is meant to make it easy. So you can use any of these shadows as a one and done eyeshadow on your eyes. You can put it on with your finger, blend it out with a brush, apply your contour, your blush, and be out the door. I'm always looking for things like that to shorten up my makeup routine. I know many of you are as well. So that was kind of what my hopes and expectations were with this palette. Every time I have used this palette, I've tried to do a one and done with these. It doesn't work for me. The shimmer is just a little too much. It does highlight texture. But then what I'm finding is I just can't get the pigmentation to show up on my eyes. And I also am struggling with lasting power. And that is something I never, ever have struggled with Natasha Denona eyeshadows, whether they be matte or shimmers. Also, even though you see a decent amount of glow, the color behind it is so light that I could not even get this to show up on my eyes. So then I'm layering this one. I thought, okay, we'll add a little bit of shine over it. But again, do you see how sheer that is? I'm going to go to the front part of my hand. It's so sheer that it really literally is just adding a little wash of shine on your eyes. These two are the most pigmented, but again, it's going to be a very smoky look. And when I've tried to do these all over the lid and blend it into the crease, it's just not pretty. It's way too much shine through my crease for me. This shade right here, I had hopes that maybe this could bring it all together. It's really pretty on the finger, but I did not see hardly any of that color show up on my eyes. So after I initially tried using these kind of as the purpose was meant, as just kind of a one and done, I've also tried them with other colors, you know, from her other palettes to bring in through the crease or to deepen the outer corner. And I just end up with a muddy look on the eyes. And I feel like my eye look fades. And by the end of the day, it's kind of like, what was my attempt here? So I know many people have said, well, you can use the blush and the bronzers as colors through your crease. Actually, on the box, it says these blush and contour bronzer shades are not for use on the eyes. And if you've seen my previous video about eye care and makeup, you will know that I adhere to those things. Now, some people may not. So if you look at those shades and go, oh, I'll use those on my eyes, then maybe this is for you. But again, I feel like the shimmers are not up to the standard that I am used to with Natasha Denona. So if you love those super metallic shimmers from her previous palettes, then you're going to be disappointed. I actually much preferred this color story. This was her Love Face and Eye palette. This is available on Sephora during the sale, and it has 2 cream products up here. And I have really enjoyed this. Of course, you know I love my pinks and my purples, but this was a new kind of formulation in this palette. And so you have kind of this beautiful, I mean, oh, gorgeous. And then you have 4 mattes. And so you can turn any of those mattes into a shimmer. So I much prefer this thought process. Now, the good thing about this palette, if you did purchase it, is you can actually pop out those eyeshadows and put in maybe a matte shadow or 2 from another palette. But I just think value for the money is not here, and I would personally skip this. All right, last product I'm going to talk about today, the final number 10 product, is the new release from Charlotte Tilbury in her Kissing lipstick line. She recently released 5 new pink shades. And then she also did 4 or 5 red shades in her matte line. I didn't purchase any of the matte ones, the red ones, because I have enough red lipstick in my collection. I don't wear that on a daily basis, but I do wear some version of pink almost every day. And today I am wearing one of these. Now, these I absolutely love. And yes, they are luxury. Yes, they are a splurge, but this is the time if you want to splurge on a lipstick and you have been trying to find that perfect pinky, not too much pink, not too much nude, not too warm, not too cool. I think there is a pink in this line for you. Now, the 3 shades that I purchased from this collection are, this is Red Carpet Pink, this is Candy Chic, and this is Icon Baby. So they are all pink, but swatched side by side, you can see distinct differences between them. Now, this is how they look on my warm tone skin. I feel like on my best friend who has more pink undertones, these 2 kind of look the opposite. Candy Chic looks a little more cool tone on her, and Red Carpet Pink looks a little warmer on her. So that's just an FYI. But as you can see, depending on your likes, your differences between pinks on your lips, you can find a pink in here, I think, in this new collection. And I feel like these colors in this Kissing lipstick formula last better than her previous releases in the Kissing lipstick formula. So just an FYI. But I am wearing the Icon Baby right now. That's my top favorite of the 3 that I purchased. I'm wearing that here, but with a pink lip liner that is drawing out a little more of the pink, but I wanted it not to go too pink, so I toned it down with this Icon Baby. I think if you're debating which one to get, I would start with this one because it is so versatile, and again, something that is going to be great going into spring and summer. So I hope that this video was helpful for you and that it wasn't just a bunch of repeated information that you've heard on everybody else's video. And I hope that it helped you decide how you want to finish out the Sephora sale. Again, it ends April 15th. I'll have all the sale information in the description box down below, as well as links to these 10 products and everything else that is on my face today. Now, moments before sitting down to record this, I just got my Sephora order delivered. So I am so excited to tear into that box. Be sure a haul and try on video is coming, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.